Good evening. Man, am I flustered. Oh my God. Talk about last minute live streaming. How is everybody doing tonight? Hope everybody's having a good day. I'm all discombobulated and participating in my recovery still, but Addie and I literally just walked in the door not 20 minutes ago, and here we are. Of course, Mr. Uncoordinated. I had nothing ready. But we're here. We're still
Life on
here.
life's terms. Chill out. You're gonna be fine.
Yeah, you're bitching at me in the background already. But yeah, we're here. I'm glad you guys are here. I'm waiting on her to share out the stream. Please share the stream, guys, tonight. If you haven't already, we would really appreciate it. The more we share, the more we help, the more we reach. But yeah, me and my new addiction, computer stuff. We had to run down the street and pick up more computer equipment. Last minute, guy was like, "Hey, I'm home. Come get it." So that's what we were doing. But we're here. I'm waiting on her to let me know that she's ready so I can bring Addie on so we can get some questions going on. Thank you for tuning in.
Tell him. Tell him to start putting some
It's the
questions.
Q&A for Joe and Addie. Start putting some questions in the chat. I see the chat's already going. I don't have it up. Hello, Brian, Lacey. I see you guys in here posting already. We see some questions. I know we got some written down. I'm going to be honest, I lost a few of your guys' stuff that you sent to us, but I mean, that's okay. Um, we're going to deal with it and we're going to get through it. I'm going to go ahead and bring Addie on and bring her on screen. She's muted still. Now she's unmuted. You guys should be able to hear her now. I turn my speakers down so I
Can you
don't
guys hear
sound like I'm
me?
feedbacking.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can hear
Okay.
you.
I'm still throwing some stuff up
See
here.
how unprepared we are right now?
This is normal. This is the normal way it
This
goes,
is
though,
normal live streaming.
because Facebook gives me some stuff at the top of the thing, but then it doesn't give me all of them.
She's blaming it on Facebook,
I'm
guys.
totally blaming it on Facebook because why not?
But
Because look, it is
welcome,
Jeff Bezos.
Recovery
It's your
Warriors.
fault
I am going to get into the
or
chat and see
whoever.
some of these questions. There's my sponsor, Blackfoot. Where's Blackfoot at? I'm not familiar with Blackfoot. But welcome, Brian. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm just waiting on her to get herself situated so we can get some of these questions. We've already gotten some written down from a few people that we're gonna touch on, and as we share on these questions that have already been asked, if you guys want to know anything else or drop some questions in the chat, please do so. Right there at the bottom, ask Joe and Addie. We want to see some gratitude in the chat tonight too. There's always something to be grateful for, guys. And
Yes.
please share this stream out. The more we share, the more we help. And you can also follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. I'm using a different streaming program tonight because I was trying to make it a little easier on me
Mhm.
to do this, so I wasn't multitasking nearly as much as I normally am to try to focus more on the questions. You guys can obviously see that hasn't worked out so well for me tonight, but that's okay. We will be okay. Uh-oh, he's a Canadian. I don't know if I should hold that against you or not, brother, but welcome. I'm glad you're here. No, for real. That's awesome. See, Addie can even chat with you guys too. So what questions have we gotten? Who are they from?
Okay.
Right off the bat.
Well, Celia sent us a whole pile of them. She should be. Hopefully, she's on YouTube watching. I guess we'll just start with one of those.
This is from Celia. This is a friend of ours in recovery, and she's
She
asking what?
she wants to know, has your relationship changed or differed living in our new apartment?
How has it changed in our new apartment? Here,
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring this chat overlay up here real quick, guys. Give me a second. Take this logo out of the way. Yeah, see how unprepared I am today.
It's all right.
That's
We're
all
rolling with
right.
it. We're raw and
You
uncut.
guys would be able.
You know.
I should be able to read your guys' chats as you guys chat along here too. So, so how has it changed since we've been in the new apartment?
Yes.
How hasn't it changed since we've been in this new apartment?
This is true. We are not, except we are touching right now, but we are not on top of each other. So that has definitely gotten better. It's been weird to have different rooms.
You hear that? She said it's better because we're not on top of one
It
another.
is. It's been really good. It's really funny to walk in the apartment and he's not on the couch, and so I have like 3 other rooms to look in to find him. So that part is cool, and
I
it's nice to
enjoy
have.
I enjoy the extra space.
Yes.
I really do. I enjoy having the extra space. I mean, we went from these are blessings of recovery. I'm going to try to relate everything I can back to recovery and blessings of recovery because I'm blessed. I mean, we're both really, really blessed. We were in a 450 square foot efficiency
Studio
apartment,
apartment, yep.
studio apartment, and we were there a little over a year.
I was there a year. You moved in with me about 2 months into my lease.
Yeah, I was there almost a
So
year.
10 months, give or take.
So, we moved out of this super small place. We had completely outgrown Addie and I and 2 cats, and we move into this two-bedroom, 1,000 square foot apartment not 2 miles down the road, and it's amazing. I mean, it's just so much more room and space, and, like, this is in a completely different room than the entire rest of this room is literally almost the full size of the floor we were staying at
Mhm.
before.
Yeah,
So,
pretty
the
much.
ability to be able to move around, um, grateful for the little things, like our refrigerator here has a light in it that actually works and doesn't make noise, like our old refrigerator,
Oh, it squealed.
it
It
squealed
made
and was going out
the
and
worst noise. Yeah,
made
it was
terrible
horrible.
noises. There was no lights. When you got up in the middle of the night to get something out of the refrigerator and you turn it on, you couldn't see shit to get out of it. It's just little things that we're grateful for. How about the bed? How about having a new
Yes,
bed?
it is my favorite all-time part of the apartment is having a couch and a bed and not having to have one that's in the same thing. Because like, I didn't have a couch for 10 months because we just left it as the bed.
Right.
So, that part is amazing to have a separate bed.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I mean, just being able to go out and buy a new bed and have a bed and be like super grateful for that, it's amazing. Welcome everybody coming in, Recovery Revolution. Tanya, thanks for sharing the stream out. I'm sure you guys have already. I appreciate it. But it's the little things like the bed and having the extra space. Being able to go into another room when I get up in the morning and like having room to like change my clothes and like put my clothes on and change and move around. And I can actually go out into the other room without waking Addie up
Yeah.
to drink my coffee and get myself ready for work in the morning. Because I get up early every day to go to work, and she usually sleeps until like noon.
Shut up.
And I've already got half my day done before she even gets up and gets going. So it's
And you know
just
what? I put
nice.
11 hours in today. I got paid for 11 hours.
She got paid for 11 hours. She sure as hell didn't put in 11 hours. I can tell you that. Hell freeze
Um,
over before that happens.
side note for a second. Hey Brian, congratulations on your 5 months clean.
Oh yeah. I'm not seeing it. Oh, is that in chat?
Yeah, I got it.
Awesome. Sober Gang, Brian, yes. Sober Gang, local. If you're referring to the local Sober Gang here in Dayton, Ohio, they are amazing. Those guys are awesome. Um, we just had Jameson on not too long from Sober Gang. There's a lot of different sober recovery related gangs out there, but if it's the one here in Dayton that you're referring to, I agree with you. If it's not, I'm sure they're awesome too, but the one here in Dayton kicks ass. I can definitely say that. But life, it's just more comfortable.
Yes.
The comfortability factor here at the apartment. We've got central air and central heat, which is amazing. Like I got really flustered before I went live, and I had sweat pouring off of me because I was in a hurry. I was rushing things. I wasn't practicing the principles. I wasn't slowing myself down.
Mm.
I wasn't taking a deep breath. I was having an episode right
You
before
were
I came on.
you were Russian, I should call you Vladimir.
Yeah. Yeah, I was totally rushing
Yeah.
the process and not having faith and trust that I would relax and everything would be okay. But, the central air, the heat, just I just keep thinking of things as I'm talking about it.
Mhm.
Um, it's just so nice to have. Because we had a in apartment air conditioning unit before, one of the ones that you have to vent out the window. Um, and when it got really hot out, like during the summer, it didn't work for the crap. And if you guys are overweight and heavy like I am, um, you don't like to sweat.
No.
Fat guys don't like to sweat and be hot, and I don't like to sweat and be hot. I still got man boobs and, like I sweat. Like I don't like it. So like having central air now is freaking amazing. Like I've got it on right now just because I was so hot before I went on here. What's the other question?
We've got a whole bunch. We've got several.
We got a bunch.
So Heather's question, she wants to know how we met. I'm gonna throw that one out there because this is it's kind of a funny story.
Heather wants to know, this is Heather C, correct?
Yes,
How we met.
how we
Well,
met.
I'll let you start.
So I was scrolling through Facebook dating once upon a time, and I swiped right. I think that's the proper term, isn't it? I swiped right.
Yeah, you if
I
you would have swept left, you
I
wouldn't have.
confirmed that I thought he was cute, and then he, I guess, confirmed I was cute or whatever, and we got a match, and we started talking that way.
So
Um,
Facebook, what do they call it now?
it's
Facebook.
Facebook dating.
Facebook
Facebook
dating is
dating.
how Addie and I met.
We probably talked for a month or 2 or 3, I don't know, before we actually had our first date. That's the story,
It seems
honestly.
right.
It's a funny story. So virtually we talked on the phone some, but virtually our relationship was all just on Messenger more than anything. He lived in Fairborn and I was up in Sydney, Ohio. So we were about an hour apart at that point,
Yeah, something like that.
distance wise. And this is all kind of at the peak of the Rona as well.
Yeah.
So we were dealing with all that nonsense as well. So I'm going to talk about our first date. So we had queued up for our first date, and what was that even? I'm trying to remember if that was even the same day. Yeah, because I showed up to give you money to buy an alternator. No, yeah, that morning I had showed up to give you money for that alternator,
An alternator.
and
She was
you
buying
were
me an
fixing
alternator.
you were fixing your friend's car, and so I ended up hanging out because we were gonna meet for lunch or something, and I ended up hanging out all afternoon in Huber Heights to go do we were gonna meet at Applebee's, like, several hours later, and I wasn't gonna drive all the way back and come back down. So, I would go to Applebee's at, like, 7 o'clock or whatever it was for us to meet, and Joe never shows up.
I
And
was busy buying an alternator.
he never showed up, and then I locked my keys. I was borrowing my friend's truck because my car wasn't working right, and I ended up I was frazzled to get in to do the whole date thing, and I locked the keys in the truck. So, after being stood up at Applebee's and eating by myself, I had to call my friend who had the other set of keys to the truck at, like, 9 o'clock at night to drive down to unlock the truck so that I could, get in it. And then Joe's gonna tell you where he was, though, his part of the story. Like, he texted me the next morning.
Yeah, so the car was screwed up and I didn't necessarily need the money for the alternator. I was still using, um, obviously, as you can tell by my comments, the alternator. Um, the car did get fixed, not completely with that money, but I was already, the addictive behaviors obviously were already there. She had no clue, no idea what she was getting herself into. Um, I still had an active warrant out for my arrest in another county, a couple counties over for a misdemeanor from years ago. And On my way to meet her, I go to the gas station to get gas in the car that I just got running and ended up getting arrested. And I got put on a hold. And I stayed on a hold for 24 hours and I wasn't released until the next day because the other county decided they weren't going to come all the way up to where I was at to get me, which really honestly wasn't. It was only about an hour away. I'm really surprised they didn't, but thank God they didn't. But I got out and then had to explain myself. And I honestly don't remember. My memory is still really foggy. And I don't really remember a whole lot. I remember getting arrested. I remember me calling the next day and apologizing
Mhm.
and telling you what happened and trying to explain myself and, you know,
I tried
freaking
to verify.
yeah, Inspector Gadget over
I was
here.
on public record trying to verify if he actually was in jail,
Yeah.
which I couldn't verify,
See,
but
she didn't have my full name.
yeah.
Like she's trying to look up Joe
Mhm.
on the
'Cause,
internet.
yeah, I can't remember if I knew that Joe wasn't your full name at that point. I don't remember if I knew if it was James or not at that point. I don't
Yeah.
remember.
I'm a James
I
Joseph.
don't remember.
So I go by my middle name because I'm a junior. My dad was Jim. I'm Joe. So Jim and Joe.
Yeah.
You know, it makes sense when I tell the story, but she wasn't aware of that at that point. So, you know, she was looking for the wrong dude on the jail offender webpage for those that have stalked their loved ones and exes and current people that they're
So,
dating.
I did give him a second chance, though,
She did,
and he ended
obviously.
up taking me well, yeah, obviously, but he ended up taking me to a Mexican place in Fairborn while he was wor after he got off work one day. So that was fun. I
Yeah,
did that. That was, like, our official first date.
was I working?
Yeah, you were at AutoZone.
Yeah,
That was the
yeah.
first time we, like, made a
Get in
meal
the
together.
zone. AutoZone. I was a delivery driver for AutoZone, and there's this really awesome Mexican restaurant behind the store that I worked at, and that's where we ended up going. Um, keep in mind, during the early parts of our dating, I was using still, and literally was going to work, getting a paycheck, getting high, and repeat and rinse. You know, that was my MO, and I was trying to maintain a relationship. I was
Which
trying to maintain my job. I was trying to maintain myself, my fucking sanity.
Mhm.
Um, we all know how that works out, right?
Which triggered my fixing ability and my wanting to fix him
Right.
and all of that fun stuff. So
Well,
that
and giving a little on your
played
like,
into it.
she comes from the Al-Anon
I've been in
background.
Al-Anon, actually, it's almost, well, we'll say 5.5 years because 'cause it'll be 6 years in November, that I've been in Al-Anon. I was in my 2nd marriage, um, that 5 years ago, some incidents had happened. I may get into that tonight. I don't know, we'll see. I have no plans. So, but,
See,
if you guys wanna know about that,
addictive
if you
behaviors.
guys wanna know about that, let me know, and I will tell you more of my story if you guys wanna hear that. But I, was in my 2nd marriage, and there was some, addiction involved there with my husband, and some crazy stuff led me to put my ass in a chair in an Al-Anon meeting. And so 5.5 years ago now, that has changed my life and made me all the better for it. So that has less, but I'm still constantly, I've been in Al-Anon for 5 years. It's a I'm a work in progress. I still have to fight those, fixing tendencies and those control issues that I have and the codependency. It's a constant battle to not give into those things because it's what I've done for so long. Joe, you guys hear Joe talking about the ripping and running. That was me. That was my life too. I was an adrenaline junkie. I needed that fixing everything and that the ability, like I would get an adrenaline rush from that. I would get a high from that, fixing people's situations and fixing my problem and fixing other people's problems, not mine. Cause, I wasn't, don't look in my closet, man. Don't look in my Monica friend's closet 'cause it was a hot mess. Um, so then, well, I'll throw this part of the story out too. So we were together for probably almost a year until one day I just got tired of his bullshit. And I showed up at his house where I was never allowed to go. I was actually had never been in his house before. Um, because, he was actively using and didn't want me
It
to know
wasn't
that.
it wasn't my house. I
No.
was I was staying with friends, and she just showed up one morning, and
Mhm.
the day that she showed up, I had literally just got done using at like 6 o'clock in the morning. Like, I had been up
And
all
this was, like,
night.
mid-afternoon,
My
I
drug
think,
of
when I
choice
showed
was
up.
crack cocaine, and I was on a 9, 10, 11 hour tear the night before into 6 o'clock the next morning, and here's all 4 foot 11 and a half of her banging on the door and them telling me that somebody's here to see me, and I'm
Mhm.
like, "Oh,
Oh,
shit."
I straight up was like, they're like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I'm his girlfriend." And they're like,
They're like, "What?"
"Oh, I'm sorry, what?" They didn't know about me, that nobody knew, and anyway. So I told him I was done. There wasn't a lot of discussion. I said, "Hey, dude, peace out. See you later. I'm out." I was like, "I'm not doing this anymore." And I had reached the end of my rope. And, so then fast forward a few months later, I get a phone call, my phone rings, and it's Joe popped up on my phone, and I'm like, "What does this son of a bitch want?" Because I literally I we hadn't spoken to each other. I think we were still on Facebook together, and I think he would liked a few things, but there was no active communication between us.
We weren't really talking. I
And
figured I was a goner.
so he calls me up and says, "Hey, I'm going to rehab. I'm sitting out front of this rehab right now, and I'm gonna go do this." And he's like, "I wanted you to know." And I said, "Okay." I said, I will be here and support you as much as I can through this." I was actually in a thing when all this started. So, there's that.
Yeah, she was in a relationship when I called back.
Yeah. Well, it was a right now ship. It wasn't really a relationship, but
Yeah,
it was one of those things. But anyway,
whatever you wanna call it.
so he was in rehab, and so we
Well, wait a
communicated.
minute. That's an
Yeah,
important date.
yes.
That is a very important date because that day when I called her, I was working, and okay, I was supposed to be working. I turned my keys in. I was working, I had made a delivery, I went back to work. I turned my keys in to my boss and told him that I'm going to the hospital. That's all I said. I'm going to the hospital. I can't do this anymore. I'm sick. I need to go take care of myself. And I didn't really say anything else to him. And he really didn't know what to say because he didn't know what was going on. And I left. I jumped in my personal car. I had a car at the time. And I drove to another AutoZone. I left one. I drove to another one a little bit further down the road, um, knowing in the back of my mind that, like, I needed to go to treatment. Like, today's the day. Today's the day I'm going to surrender and turn my will and my life over. And that was 10th of August of 2020. And I say that's an important date because that is my clean date.
Mhm.
And that is when my journey, my recovery journey began. Was that day when I reached out to her, and told her what was really going on. She knew I was using. She knew I was getting high. She knew something wasn't right. She didn't know the entire
I
story
didn't, but
yet.
when you've been with other people that are addicts or alcoholics in that situation, then you know that something's up.
Right.
Just the red flags were popping up. I could make a scarf out
Oh,
of all the red flags that you
um,
kept giving me.
I was a walking red
And I
flag.
did. That day that I walked into your house, I had that scarf of red flags wrapped around my neck. And I said, "Dude, we're out. I'm out."
Yeah. So that's why I say, important date in my life because that was the day that we got clean.
Mhm.
I work in Narcotics Anonymous program now. My sponsor's listening on here. Um, there's a great relationship in the fellowship. And I'm blessed because that's just another blessing in recovery for me because that's the day that, I chose to become uncomfortable. That's the day that I chose to turn my will and my life over. And since then, it's a daily process. And, I don't have to go into that. This is more about asking us questions,
Yeah.
and you guys know the process. But it's an important date. It needed to be talked
Yeah.
about because
And and
that's the
then
beginning of my recovery journey
right, which we're
after
so
multiple attempts. Like, this
grateful
is
about.
my ninth attempt of recovery. So it wasn't like it was my first try. Trust me.
And then slowly as he's in rehab, we kind of became friends then.
Yeah.
After through all this, like we became friends and we started hanging out when he got out of his
She was a sober support
yeah,
call.
when he was in his like not the lockdown part of rehab, but like got into the sober living
Right.
part of rehab. We started hanging out. We started going to church together.
They recommended that we
And
made sober support calls and we called people in recovery, which a lot of treatment centers do that. For those that are listening that have been in treatment, make it reaching out. They're teaching you to get in the habit of reaching out and asking for help and talking to other people that are in recovery, to get used to making those phone calls because we all know, making those phone calls, it's not easy to do. It wasn't for me. I hated picking the phone up and calling people. I absolutely hated it. Super uncomfortable for me to call a complete stranger and say, "Hey, my name's Joe. I'm an addict. What's going on? I'm in rehab right now. Do you want to talk?" I didn't want to do that. It was really uncomfortable. So I used Addy as someone to reach out to. I honestly don't remember where my motives were, where my heart was at that point. Um, I had a lot going on in my life. Obviously, I
mhm,
was I was struggling every single day. I was fighting to stay clean every single day. I went into treatment with again, I had a car and I had a full paycheck in my pocket. It was cash. So I had almost $1,000 in my pocket, the keys to my car in my pocket, and my car sitting in the parking lot. So you all can imagine what was going through my mind. Like I was fighting every single day the demons in my head. It was fight or flight. It was like, do I stay, or do I walk out and jump in my car and go get high? Like I had to battle that every single day, and I had solid recommendations from counselors there, some CDCAs there, to get rid of the money, like, call someone that loves and cares about me, reach out to family, someone that I trust, have them come pick my car up, get the keys out of my pocket, put the money in a safe place for when I get out, things like that. These are all recommendations that were given to me when I was there, and that's what ultimately, I ended up selling the car while I was in treatment. I'm in a 3-month treatment program, I sell my car while I'm in there. Um, that's how serious I was, guys. That's how serious
mhm,
I am today. I sold my car. I was like, it's materialistic. I can get another car. What's more important, me and my recovery or a damn car? Um, it wasn't the car. The car is gone, and I'm still
mhm,
here, and I have another car now. So it's wonderful. It worked out, and I'm glad
mhm,
I made that choice, and I'm glad that I became open minded and willing that early in recovery to listen to others that love and care about me and have been through it and get it. That's the beauty of whatever 12-step fellowship you guys work. That's the beauty of the therapeutic value, the lived experience. I can go on and on. Um, it was just really hard for me to take that recommendation because they're asking me to sell my car. They're asking me to hand over $1,000 that I have, almost $1,000 in my pocket, to someone else to hang on to, and I ended up having my family help,
mhm,
um, and kind of administer money as needed, just to help me get through it. So I didn't spend it all, so I didn't go out the door and run. I had guys tugging on my shirt every single day because they knew I had money and they knew I had a car in a parking lot. And you can imagine the pressure I was under from some of the guys that were sick in there that wanted to go out the door and get high. And I was an easy way to do it.
mhm.
So they were trying to manipulate me. Um, I don't know if any of you guys can relate to that or have ever been in that situation. You may have been the manipulator. I've been the manipulator many times. But yeah, I was struggling, guys, and Addie, I knew was working a solid Al-Anon program. Um, I knew that she had, the best. interest for me, I guess is the easiest way to say it. Like, I knew that she was in a relationship with someone else at that point, but I knew that she would still talk to me and she would give me good solid advice and wouldn't steer me the wrong way. And honestly, I was comfortable talking to her. So that's why I called her. That's why while I was in treatment, that's why I called her the day I went into treatment.
Even when he was using, we had a good relationship. He was there for me even in his active addiction. Um, Part of this, I guess I'm gonna share a little bit of this. I had left my husband, prior to meeting Joe, and, my husband died while we were separated, while Joe and I were actually dating. And so I was dealing with all of that prior to, breaking up with Joe for the first time. Well, the only time. But, so I was dealing with having to deal with the estate because we were still legally married. So I was still dealing with all of that, and that was a hot mess to try to get all that figured out. So that pressure on top of everything else. But yeah, so Joe and we became friends at that point. And I would consider him one of my best friends at that point because we were literally sharing everything with each other. And we were hanging out, and then we finally decided that, I started to have the feels, and I realized I was in love with him or still in love with him at that point. And we kind of had that conversation, and
Ooh.
one thing led to another.
We got a cat on. You guys can see Piper climbing around. She is literally on the table. So if the camera goes toppling over,
Yeah, it's Piper.
um, Piper. Yeah, you're gonna see a cat nose. You can see whiskers on Addie's screen now. We got a cat that's gonna totally live bomb us. But
Yep. What are you doing?
yeah, she said the L word. That's scary. There's a tail.
Yeah.
So what other questions have we got?
We have a
Our
combination.
story's a long one.
It is. We have a combination of two. I want to combine these two together. Celia wanted to know how we resolve conflict, but Mikey also asked us about effective communication in a relationship.
I can honestly say I'll start. Obviously, I have control issues.
Yes. Yes.
um, Mikey definitely knows about them. Um, we communicate. Our communication's awesome. I feel that it's awesome. We don't argue. Um, we've gotten flustered with one another, but like I think by working the programs that we work, practicing the principles, practicing the 12 steps, utilizing our sponsors, sharing our
Yeah.
shit daily. Um, you know, it helps. It really does. I go back to the cliche sayings, it works if you work it. I had an application problem and I would never try. I would never apply myself. And I really tried today, guys. Am I still an asshole at times? Of course I am. But I'm getting better.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
I'm a lot
it's
better.
incredibly tolerable.
Yeah, I'm more tolerable today than I was almost 2 years ago. Trust me,
Mhm.
because I was a really big asshole then. Um, just not near as big of an asshole today.
No, it's good.
So I've gotten better. We don't argue, we don't bicker.
Mhm.
We both really are pretty quick to go into our program that we work and practicing the principles. We're both really knowledgeable with practicing the pause and taking a deep breath and stepping away from situations, diffusing situations, and not
We
engaging.
we read each other pretty good.
Yeah, we read
You
one another
know,
really well. The whole
when
react or respond
like
situations.
well, for like the beginning, right before right before this whole thing started,
Yeah,
he's upset. I literally am like, just chill the fuck out.
I was losing my
You
fucking
know, I'm
marbles.
like, just calm down. It'll be fine. Well, he did the same thing to me the other day. I was having a shit day, and I just decided to sit on the couch and I just wanted to be a lump for a little while. And he kind of didn't really get in my face, but he's like, I'm here, and you can dump on me, and you can tell me these things, because that's something that it's hard for me to do even now. I've been so self reliant for so long that sometimes I need to be reminded that I'm in a relationship, that I have somebody that I can give some of my bricks to carry for me that I don't have to carry them by myself because I've just been so used to doing that for so long. It's so nice to have somebody that can do that for me and that will do that for me. But
Mhm.
sometimes I have to be reminded of that because, old habits die hard, and I will slip back into that just isolation mode and I just wanna be by myself for a minute, and I sometimes it's not a good thing. I need to be reminded that I've got support, that I
Ground.
can reach out.
We ground one another really well.
Yeah,
We really do.
we both work a really good program, and that's one of the things that I think keeps us well is that we know that, and we respect that, and, if we've talked about the going out one time before. We were going to see a band one time
Mhm.
and at a bar, and we had the conversation before we even went out. "Hey, this may not be a good idea, but we're gonna try it anyway." And so we went into it with open conversation and open communication that, "Hey, this is what potentially might happen," you know? And so that neither one of us were upset with the other one. We said, "Hey, I'm gonna try, but it may not work." And so that's what happened. We were in the bar for we made it through he made it through about 2 songs that our friend's band was playing. He goes, I'm going out to vape out in the car." I said, "Okay, no big deal." I could tell he was uncomfortable. I could just body language, I could just tell he was uncomfortable. So, a few minutes later, I get a text message, "I ain't coming back in." I said, "He just said I can't do it." He said, "I'm gonna be out here in the car. You stay as long as you want to. I'm just gonna hang out here." So I was there with another friend, and so I hung out with her for a couple more songs, and then I'd had my fill. I said, "Okay," I left, and so I got enough of the live music experience for that night, and he was comfortable. But that we had that conversation, and that's one of the I think cool parts about it was the fact that we were both on the same page, and we knew what was going to happen or potentially happen. So we had that plan A, plan B kind of situation worked out, and so that's kind of how we still communicate now. We talk about these things and, like if we're going to a family thing, I'm like, "Hey, if you are ready, just tell me you're ready to go." Like, give me the high sign and we'll take off whenever you're feeling like you're done or whatever. We can be wherever. And, we've had that communication. "Hey, when you're done, just say you're done and we'll just take off, no problem." And it just, I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling about it now, but
No, I mean, it's just communication's key, good, effective communication and just letting one another know where we're at and just
yeah.
being honest about where we're at. Like, I was honest with her and told her that I wasn't more than likely gonna be super comfortable walking back into a bar, um, that early in recovery, and it's not because of the alcohol, it's just the scene, the scenery. I love live music, so going and hearing rock and roll, uh, in a smoky bar sounded amazing, but I have also gotten high in bars before,
Mhm.
and my drug of choice is readily available in just about every bar around here.
Yeah.
So, like, these things are going through my head, so, for those that have been listening to the streams for a while and have heard me share, like, during the holidays, having a game plan,
Mhm.
protecting yourself, having a way out of a sticky situation, especially when you know you may be
Yeah.
potentially dangerously putting yourself in one, um, have a way out, have a safe plan, have someone on speed dial, take somebody with you in recovery, and that's what we did. Addie was there, we had something set in place.
Mhm.
So if I did become uncomfortable, which I did, you know, we knew what to do. We knew what we were gonna do. We were both on the same page, and it worked out fine. It wasn't for me. I didn't like it, and
I
we're
think
we're talking about going to another concert
yeah.
now to where I feel a little bit more comfortable going to. But yeah.
I think it's how we support each other's program, but don't try to run each other's program.
Oh, no, not
I
at all.
think is another big deal. We work a program together, but we know each other has a program separately. So we go to he comes to Al-Anon meetings with me, and I go to NA meetings with him, but
We support one another.
we also do our own meetings as well. So we have that alone time where we can bitch about each other if we need to, or vent about anything. But I mean, that doesn't really happen all that often anyway.
No,
We're
just bitching about me buying too much shit to my sponsor.
I've never said anything to your sponsor.
No, you
Not yet.
probably
Although Mikey, you and I, we may have to have a phone call at some point.
yeah.
Maybe.
There's another computer off to my left.
But that wasn't the expensive one you wanted to get, so I'm okay with the least
I
expensive.
compromised.
I'm
I compromised.
I'm okay with that.
It
I'm
was
I'm okay with that.
I spent less money today than I was planning to, so some are sicker than others. I'm getting better, guys. I am. I really am. I'm trying.
Celia sent us another question. She wants to know what we do together in our relaxing time.
What do we do in our relaxing time? Is that like the bounce chicka bow wow
I don't
time,
think so.
or is that
No, I
the
think that's in our downtime. What do
in
we
our
do?
downtime? Okay. I said I didn't know how detailed she wanted me to get.
Mm-mm.
Like this could get really interesting, guys.
Not
This could
that
get
detailed.
really not that detailed. Okay, you know I'll go there.
I know we will go there.
Um,
I will definitely go there.
what do we like to do?
Do we binge watch shows
Dayton,
on the
Ohio,
Netflix?
Brian. Dayton. We're Buckeyes. We're in
Yeah, we
Ohio.
are
We're a little north of
west.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, we are west side of Ohio, kind of middle west Ohio.
Yeah, yeah. So okay. So what do we do besides bounce chicka bow wow time when we're relaxing?
We binge watch a lot of TV.
I
We
told
both
everybody this is rated R for recovery.
we both like Law and Order and court TV and all that sort of stuff. So we watch a lot of that stuff. Um, we're really kind of boring people, to be honest, guys. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I
we, we like to play. We like to play spades on our own phones and bitch about our partners that we play with
yeah,
on
these
on our phones.
any of you guys play
Um,
Spades Plus on Facebook? God, you talk about getting shitty partners. Oh my god. It's terrible.
um,
Horrible.
we go to meetings. I mean, I consider that something that we do. Yes, boring is healthy.
Boring is
I
healthy.
totally
I
agree.
agree.
I like having a quiet life. Um,
My day, I mean, both of our days are active for the
yeah.
most part. I mean, I work a full-time job in recovery, another blessing. So I'm working with other addicts and alcoholics at a homeless shelter here in Dayton, and it takes a lot out of me, guys.
Mhm.
So when I get home and it's Joe time and I'm practicing self-care, if I'm not
Mhm.
live with you guys, I am either participating in a meeting online. I was able and blessed uh, with COVID, I should say, because I'm a COVID Zoom baby. And, I've been able to get clean and stay clean through all this shit. And I have gotten used to Zoom. Mikey had
Mhm.
mentioned that earlier, like the technology has changed so much that's what I do on my downtime. I enjoy doing Zoom meetings and sharing my experience, strength, and hope. So if we're not chilling on the couch watching TV or literally in bed watching TV, playing on our phones or whatever, that's what we do to relax. That's our downtime. I
We do a
mean,
lot of talking.
yeah, I mean, our
We
communication's
talk to each
wonderful.
other a lot.
Yeah,
We have cats, so
we talk to them too.
we talk to them. Piper, our baby, who you saw earlier, she's only a year old. She's still kind of in the kitten stage. So we spend a lot of time messing with her and getting her to chase things. She plays fetch.
Like a
She'll
dog.
Yeah, like a dog.
Totally
She's
does.
got these toy mice that you can throw and she'll bring back most of the time. So we play with her a lot. The other cat, Merlin, she's old. She just likes to lay on us. So she cuddles with us on the couch most of the time. Yeah, we're really pretty boring people. I'm okay with being being boring. I'm a sponsor, so I'm pretty active. I've got several sponsees working steps right now. So I spend a lot of time doing that and reaching out to other people in Al-Anon. I give out my phone number often to people and I spend a lot of time texting with people trying to listen and help people out of situation, just sharing my experience and strength and hope with them to hope maybe that will give them some relief in their life as well, you know?
I intentionally don't put too much on my plate for a reason because I get overwhelmed really easy. I was overwhelmed when I came on tonight. When I put too much on my plate, I struggle. I don't think clearly. I get outside of myself in a bad way, and I have to remind myself to slow down and take those deep breaths that Addie was telling me to take before I went
Mhm.
live. Like, that's I have to do this daily. Like, I struggle with it daily, because I get ahead of myself, and when I get ahead of myself and I start running on my will, not my higher power's will, I start making horrible decisions and shitty choices, and it's all bad. The red flags start flying left and right.
Yeah.
Um, the nice thing is the ability to see them
Mhm.
now and identify them and get into the solution and get out of that mess. I don't stay stuck in
Well,
that nearly as long.
and having each other in that situation, we can see that and we can kind of tell each other,
We support
you
one
know,
another.
slow
We
your
really
roll.
do.
I will get into my own stuff sometimes, and I utilize halts a lot, you know, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, stressed, or sick. But it takes me a while to realize I'm doing that. So I'll get into a place where I'm extremely pissy and I'll just start throwing things around. He starts making fun of me and he tells me that I'm adorable when I get upset. I just told him he's adorable when he gets mad too, and he didn't like that either.
You guys ever seen like
But
a little T Rex? Like a little T Rex pissed off and she's like, eh.
so
That's her. That's her when she's
it's
mad. If you guys have ever dated
so
a
what's
short girl before, you totally understand what I'm talking about when they get pissed off. It's
yeah.
the cutest thing ever.
So what's great is that breaks the tension. And he tells me that I'm being ridiculous, and I might argue with him for a minute, but it snaps me back and makes me realize that I'm being ridiculous. And then we start laughing about it, you know, and it's just that being able to like poke at me, and I poked him just so you guys can see it on camera. But you know, we can poke at each other and that's okay. And if you guys saw us out in public together, you'd think we didn't like each other because we're constantly constantly picking at each other and making fun. He's constantly telling me that I'm short. I don't know why he thinks that, but constantly telling me that I'm
Because you
short.
are.
Although it's great when you go to the store and I can go in between aisles and he loses me completely. I just make sure I have the car keys.
I have you guys ever yeah, have you guys ever seen how to find a short person on YouTube where they like tie a balloon to
The
them?
balloon.
So like when you lose your girlfriend or your boyfriend that's really short, like in a department store, you just tie a balloon to him and you just see this little balloon going through the store all by
Do
itself.
you guys remember The Sims?
I gotta do that to
I
her.
need the diamond. I need the green Sims diamond above my head all the time. That way it
Yeah.
can find
And you know what's really cool is we get along so well to like have you guys ever had a girlfriend or a boyfriend that like points out other hot guys and girls?
cheers to that.
Yeah, she totally
Mhm.
does that. We'll be going through the store and she'll be like, "Wow, check her butt out or check
Yeah.
this out." And I'm like, "Ooh, where? Where's
Mhm.
she at?" Like she points them out to me, guys. Like it's crazy.
It's
Absolutely amazing.
works out okay. I
Yeah,
mean,
that works out good.
I don't have any rebuttal to that. You see a nice
Right.
ass, you see a nice ass. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. I don't. I you know whatever.
I'm all for it. Hey, Patty, long time no see. Nice to see you on here. She said, "Hey, stranger," replying to Mikey. I'm saying, "Hey, stranger," to you. She messages me though. Patty messages me every day, almost every day. She really does.
So the only other question I have left from Celia is have we put the positive affirmations back on our bathroom mirror yet?
Mm.
And the answer is no. I have not yet. That is on my to-do list. Maybe I'll get to that this weekend because I have missed if you guys backstory, we had positive affirmations written all around our bathroom mirror at the old place. You know, things as simple as I'm beautiful, I am bold, I am light. Just whatever. It was I found some lists that I copied and just drew little, bubbles and put them on there. Um, but yeah, so we have not done that yet, and that is definitely on my to-do list. I recommend that to everybody to put some positive affirmations around your bathroom mirror because you spend a lot of time in the bathroom and generally it's probably the first one of the first and last things you see when you get up or go to bed is that bathroom mirror, because we gotta go pee. So, you know.
Yeah.
So
Definitely gotta go pee.
that way you're seeing those things and it it affects you. The more you see the positive stuff, the more it rewires your brain and the better off
Well,
you are.
waking up with that attitude of gratitude, I guess for me is it's part of my routine. It's really important to remember and to do every single day. Um, and the affirmations help because I'm hard on myself. I'm my own worst enemy. I can get stuck in my head. I can beat myself up. Be Nancy negative. So, you know, starting the day off with that attitude of gratitude and those positive affirmations for me are really important because it gets my mind right. I have my routine today, and that's me resetting myself. That's me starting my day fresh with starting on a positive note, not a negative one,
Mhm.
and realizing that if I wake up on the wrong side of bed, I've got a choice. I can restart my day. You know, each and every one of us can restart our day if we wake up and we wake up on the wrong side of bed and we're having a shitty day. It's our choice whether we decide to sit in our shit or not,
Mhm.
or we can hit the reset button and restart our day and start looking at the gratitude in the day and the positive things that are going on in our lives. I'm overwhelmed with gratitude every day, and sometimes I forget about it. Again, I'm not perfect, and I have to reset my day. I have to ground myself. I have to practice that pause that Addie talked about earlier,
Mhm.
um, and just take a deep breath and be like, "Look, just a short time ago, this is where I was at. I was homeless, I was hopeless, and I was borderline suicidal. I struggle with mental health, just like many of us, if not all of us, do.
Mhm.
It goes hand in hand with addiction, guys. It's
It's not even
not,
the addiction side, it's our side too.
yeah,
We
and
have
it's
just as much mental illness as y'all do.
right. And
You
a
know.
lot of us suffer from mental illness, and we have to remember, to practice self care and take care of ourselves and be able to identify when our body's talking to us,
Mhm.
when we feel
Self
ourselves
being
getting
self-aware.
manic or we feel ourselves out of control or something's off, something doesn't feel right, you know, having the ability to be able to identify those and make the proper adjustments in our life and make the proper phone calls to professional help if needed, which is completely fine. It's an amazing thing. There's a lot of gratitude in that. Sometimes it's hard to get through. Sometimes that feeling may last days for some of us. We
Yeah.
may be stuck in that uncomfortable feeling because of our mental illness for 2, 3, 4, sometimes a week.
Yeah.
The nice thing is, though, and a lot of gratitude in being able to identify it and do something about it, not lay there and sit in our shit and beat ourselves up and get worse. We're trying to get better, not worse. We get into the solution a little quicker.
Right. Hey, so you guys out there listening, do you guys have any questions for us? The stuff we talked about, anything about that or anything else you'd like to know about us, our recovery, anything? Like I said,
We're an open book. I
we'll
mean, we really
answer
are.
we'll answer anything.
We're really an open book. I tell you, it's we lead a pretty boring life. You
You know
know.
what? Something else just popped in my brain I'm gonna share.
Um,
Um,
Uh-oh.
I know I was actually talking to a sponsee about this the other day. Um, Something that makes us work well is not a conventional relationship, not fitting into society's idea of a conventional relationship. I did not have a healthy relationship in my life to see what a healthy relationship looked like. My entire childhood growing up and um even into adulthood. I've been divorced and widowed and you know what? Neither one of my marriages were healthy marriages. Those were not healthy relationships in any way, shape, or form. And so not paying attention to social norms, and us not worrying about if our relationship looks like somebody else's relationship. We're doing what is
Nothing's
good
normal about our
for us.
relationship.
Well, and it's him being understanding and him still working on himself, realizing I'm working on myself, has made me realize that some of the ideas that I had were really fucked up. And I've been able to readjust my perception of a relationship and what love really is, and how it is not connected to intimate moments necessarily. It is, you know, there's more intimacy in communicating and having a healthy communication than just sex or just being physical with each other all the time. It, it's created just this really cool bond we have, that like he's seriously my person, that when the good things happen in my day, I want to call him and tell him if he's not with me already. And if the bad shit happens, he's my first call. He's the one I want to talk to. He's the one that I want to tell before anybody else. The that's
Once like the other day when you
you
shared,
know,
like, you were going through some difficulties yesterday, or was it the day before, when we spoke and I kinda grounded you like you did me
yeah,
earlier.
I think it was Tuesday.
Yeah, like, we feed
It
off
might have
one
been
another.
yesterday.
I can
I don't know
tell
either.
I can tell when Addie's upset, and Addie can tell when I'm upset or
Mhm.
something's on our mind. Like, I we call one another out on one another's
Yeah.
bullshit relatively easy. I can tell when her aura, her vibe is off, and she can tell when mine's
Yeah.
off. And I ask questions, I'm really open and honest with her. She's
Mhm.
very open and honest with me. Um, and we can feel that. Like that connection's
I
there to where we can
Yeah.
feel
I've
when
I've
something's off.
been in some abusive relationships, and he respects that, and he understands that, so and he's been in some, not I wouldn't say abusive relationships, but
I've been in some messed up
maybe some
ones.
so we understand that about each other. So we both try to be careful,
Yeah, I mean, there's
you
a
know?
lot of abuse and a lot of trauma.
Mhm.
And the 12-step fellowship that I work, it teaches us to show love and compassion and empathy and understanding and realizing that each and every one of our recovery journey, our recovery process looks different.
Yeah.
And, I not only practice that in all my affairs daily for myself, but like my job,
Mhm.
the job that I work today, I have to be there for, I'm supportive and I have to be understanding and I have to remind myself sometimes like, man, I used to be this person. I can see myself in this person and be understanding and realize that that's just where they're at
Yeah.
in their process. And, separating my process from their process at times is a struggle, not nearly as bad as what it used to be. But it's something that I have to remind myself every day. And I'm reminded of it every day that I go to work. And I'm grateful for
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
The shelter that I work at has razor wire going all the way around it because it's right next to a prison. And, the prison yard, the prison razor wire, the security cameras, and then the shelter itself that I work at is somewhere that I used to live at while I was actively using. So not
Mhm.
only do I work at this shelter, I used to live at that shelter.
Yeah.
So my
We were
live
together
yeah,
the last time.
we were together
I would
while
hear
we were
stories.
talking
Yeah, I would hear stories
while I was
while
living
he
at
was
that
there, yeah.
shelter. Um, so like the lived experience of being incarcerated, going to prison, the story that I'm telling you, living where I work at today, um, that's the lived experience. That's the therapeutic value. That's the beauty of the we. That's what I feel allows me to be really good at my job because I understand where these guys are coming from and where they're at in their life because I've been there. I've been there and done it. I completely get it.
I just had an aha moment while
Uh-oh.
you were talking. I was just sitting here thinking that it was a really a good thing while you were actively using the first when we were together the first time, that my situation, I was still in that I need to fix everything mode. I was still trying to get out of that. And I would have moved him in with me if I had lived in my own place, which would have been all bad. if I had moved him in actively,
Horrible idea.
because I had no idea that it was as bad as it was. And so
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking about how grateful I am that our circumstances were what they were in that period. I mean, I felt horrible that he was in the homeless shelter, but I was living with friends actually in hiding at the time. And it wasn't my house. I couldn't be like, "Oh, hey, my boyfriend's gonna move in with us." Like that was
Yeah. And
not a
truth be
thing.
known, that in that
You
part of
know.
my recovery process, I was still using. So my thought process was, I want to get the fuck out of this homeless shelter. So I'm going to try to manipulate my way out of it.
Mhm.
And there's an
But
opportunity right there of possibly moving out of the shelter
yeah,
and not using the shelter,
but
as a
yeah,
shelter from the storm.
luckily for me, it was not an option, so I
Right.
couldn't do that. And so I'm just sitting here thinking how my higher power was really looking out for me in that point, because I would have bent over backwards to try to get him into. I mean, I was actively in my brain trying to figure out how can we get him out of this shelter. But I didn't have any resources at that point, and we were 2 counties apart, and I didn't have that. So I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking how grateful I am that didn't happen,
Yeah, because
you
that
know?
that part of I wasn't even really in recovery. I wasn't in recovery then.
No, me
I was
neither.
actively using, and I had found my way back into a homeless shelter again, and I was trying to get myself out of the situation I was in, and still figure out how I could use and not be at the shelter. That's where I was at, and she didn't know all that.
Mm-mm.
She wasn't aware of any of that. I want to go back to. I'm scrolling back through some of the comments where Mikey and Patty were talking about, being an inspiration to one another, and,
Yeah.
like, that's what the fellowshipping and the beauty of all these relationships are about, you know? We're all hard on ourselves. Patty was thanking Mikey about, being inspirational, and, you know, Patty talking about self-conscious about looks and things of
Mhm.
that nature. Like, these are all things that I
So
personally relate to because that's me.
so
Like,
Patty, I'll be real for you for a second. Talk about being weird about your looks, man. I don't wear the bandana for fashion. I wear the bandana because I'm practically bald from being sick. So I had cancer. It wasn't, and I didn't go through chemo, but I have had other health issues along, with like thyroid and some other things that has caused me to lose my hair. And so I wear this bandana as I'm just not ready for the world to see me with without it. So I'm actually planning on getting my head tattooed. Is the ultimate plan. So
totally down for a bald chick with a bunch of tattoos on her head. What do you guys think?
but
I'm completely for
I'm
it.
still working on the design because it's my head. It's not like I can cover it up with a t-shirt if I don't like it. So, but yeah, Patty, I totally understand about feeling self-conscious because that's what this is. This is me not quite ready for people to see having hair.
Yeah.
It's not quite there yet.
And I'm not going to tell Patty's
So,
story, but I can almost probably safely say that she is agreeing and understands where you're coming from 100% because I've heard Patty's story many times. And it's very similar when it comes to that. And I
thank you, Mikey.
agree.
I think I can.
She she's beautiful to me no matter
Yeah,
if it's
Patty's
hair or
amazing.
no hair. You know what I mean, guys?
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
not
baby.
beauty for me comes within. It's not what's on the outside.
Mhm.
And that's just me being completely honest. Like, when I fell in love with Addie and things really got serious with one another, um, it's not all about the looks for me. It's
Mm-mm.
really not. Um, and it's just how she treated me. Like, she treated me like a normal person.
It's the blue eyes.
Yeah,
It's
she
really the
says it's
blue
my
eyes.
eyes.
No, it's
I don't know, but it's
you guys know what
it's
I'm talking
not the
about.
outside. You
It's
know what I
not.
mean?
It's the soul.
Yeah,
It's there's a good dude in there, and he's pretty
somewhere.
amazing. So
Somewhere. He's in there. No,
he's
I
in
mean,
there.
I have a big heart. I really do, and I have to remind myself that sometimes because sometimes That's the whole practicing boundaries, like, 'cause
Yeah.
I wanna be Captain Save a Bro or Captain Save a Ho all the time, especially now working, in the field, and, I wanna save people. I'm a fixer myself.
Yeah.
I know Addie relates to that.
Die
I
hard.
wanna save everybody, and I just simply can't. I have to worry about myself and my recovery first
Mhm.
and stick to that healthy boundary and realize that, their recovery is their recovery and
Yeah,
my recovery is my
exactly.
recovery, and I have to
That's
separate that.
I think that's another point of how well we get along because we both have very strict boundaries and with each other
We do.
and stick with them. And then we try like it's very rare that I won't stick to my boundaries with him, but we talk about it and we explain to each other why. It's not just a flat out no, it's this is why or
Yeah.
whatever the situation is. But it just
It's not done negatively,
no.
like, we don't like I'm super serious when I say we don't really argue or bicker. I can't remember one time
Mm-mm.
where I've even raised my voice,
No.
yelled. That's not me. Believe it or not, guys, I'm really laid back, and I'm pretty calm and collective.
I've
Um,
I've been triggered a few times on my own because
yeah.
I've been scared of situations where we've kind of been upset with each other because of past history of mine, but not of his character whatsoever, And
He was
so
expecting me to go off, and I didn't.
yeah, and so I came home one day not wanting to come home because I forget what had happened. Something didn't work out the way it was meant to, and I automatically assumed it was my fault because that's just how I've been conditioned. And so I thought he was going to be extremely mad at me. Not the case. I don't have any proof to back that up because he's not like that. But in my brain, I had worked it up so much. The shitty committee had taken over and had, you know, made me believe that he was going to be super pissed. I didn't even want to go home. I texted him and said, "You know what? This is my mental situation right now. I don't want to come home right now. I'm scared." And we talked about it. And he's like, "Just you're fine. I'm fine. Just come home." And so I did. Everything was fine. There was nothing for me to freak out about. But I had been so conditioned in bad relationships for so long that that's just what I went to. And when I got home and we had the conversation, we kind of laughed about it, that it was then no big deal. And since then, I have that positive reinforcement now, and it's not as bad. I don't get triggered like I used to. So,
Yeah, Heather, I just brought that up on screen. Says Heather said I'm working on the word no and how to stay no and staying, sticking to that. Like
mhm,
I relate to that. Addie has reminded me many times that
yeah,
it's okay to say no.
no is a complete sentence.
Yeah, if I'm not feeling it, if I don't want to go out, I've had a bad day or I'm stressed out, like it's okay for me to say no. It's okay for me to say, look, I really don't feel like going to the grocery store, or I don't want to do this or I don't want to
Mhm,
do that. And I relate to that, Heather, like, because I have to remind myself that every single day.
yeah.
Um, it's hard sometimes. It's really hard to say no and to stick to that
Oh, it
boundary.
is, absolutely.
It-
But when you finally stick it, it takes practice. It's like all the tools in all of our programs.
What are we sticking?
They take practice. The no is a
I, sc-
complete
I
sentence,
know. I scrolled
Joseph.
out. I totally wasn't talking about sticking the word
I
no.
know.
I totally scrolled out.
You're fine.
Yeah, perseverance says will pay off soon.
Mhm.
All of our perseverance, as long as we participate in our recovery, Brian, daily and practice the principles and work the 12-step fellowship that we participate
I
in. Um,
I had to learn to give myself grace,
yeah.
to be okay with messing up and not doing everything perfectly all the time.
What? Quit pumping quarters
Quit
where?
pumping quarters in the ass kicking machine,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Give
I
yourself
swear
a
I need to get
break.
that made for a t-shirt. Anyway, um, but yeah, I seriously had to learn to give myself grace because 'cause I'm one of those people, I have control issues and perfectionism real bad. And if I wanna play guitar, I expect myself to be able to pick it up and be Jimi Hendrix, right there, right then, and never played guitar before.
I wanna be Jimi
And
Hendrix.
I know, right? But and what I'm saying is, my point is that if I wanna learn to play the guitar, if I wanna be Jimi Hendrix, I have to practice and I have to put the work in. And working our programs are exactly the same thing. You know, I'm not gonna be perfect at boundaries in the beginning. I'm not gonna be perfect at detachment in the beginning. I have to work on those, and I have to be able to give myself grace that I'm gonna mess up,
You know, the whole
you
time you're
know?
talking about you being Jimi Hendrix, this is how fucked up my thought process is. The first thought I thought of was, do they make even guitars small enough for a short person to play? Like, I'm
Yeah.
just picturing Addie standing next to me with a guitar, standing up, like, it would be taller than her. Could you imagine her trying to play
It's
the
a guitar,
guitar?
not a bass.
Still.
So, instead of me trying to type this out, Heather, I'm gonna replay your comment, just over this. Her comment was, "I don't wanna hurt other people's feelings for saying no." Well, you know what? That's okay. You don't have control over their feelings. They only have control over their feelings. So it's up to them if they get hurt or not. It's not up to you. We don't have control of other people. We only have control of what is right here, is in our body. We have control of our actions and our reactions. So if you say no to somebody, and as long as your motives are pure from that saying no, it ain't your problem if they get butthurt
Yeah,
because
that's
you
that's
said
their
no.
shit, not yours.
That's yeah, that's a them problem, not a you problem.
Yeah, it doesn't make it any easier.
No,
I
it
understand
doesn't, but
I understand where she's coming from
I do
because it's
too,
hard it's hard to do that, especially when it's somebody that you love and care about.
but that's where the detachment comes in.
Right. I
You
mean,
know,
if
we
you're in a
have to,
relationship with somebody where like you told me
you
no.
know, I did
Like
tell you no.
Addie had to practice that with me, guys.
I
Like
did.
she had to tell me
We
no and separate herself
yeah,
from
exactly.
me and my fucking madness while I was still actively using
Yep,
in hopes later on down the road, which is today where we're at now,
absolutely.
that I would start to recover, that I would start to get it, and that seed that someone planted years ago would start to grow, and it did, and that was her thought process at that point,
Yeah.
almost 2 years ago was, "Please, Lord, let this man, sprout,
Yeah.
hopefully he'll get it, but if he doesn't, I have to separate myself from his bullshit
I had to
to protect herself."
leave you in the consequences of your actions.
Right, I
You
mean,
know?
it was my
I
madness.
we talk about an Al-Anon that if we keep putting a pillow underneath our alcoholic's head every time they pass out and hit the floor, they're never gonna feel that floor. They're never gonna feel that pain that their head hitting the floor. So we have to not put the pillow there so that they can understand what they're going through, and hopefully they realize that, and come to terms with it,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, that's exactly what happened to me, so I completely get it. I completely get it, and I mean, thank God, by the grace of God, that, I made the decision shortly after my dad passed away. That was I don't wanna say that was my last bottom. When my dad passed away,
Mhm,
I was still actively using. Some of you know the story, some of you don't. Um, I hadn't seen my dad, oh my gosh, probably close to a year, year and a half, prior to him passing away. And when he passed away and I got the phone call that he had passed, I was still actively using and I wasn't there for his funeral. Addie and I had sold my car. I was living in Fairborn at the time. I hadn't bought a new car yet at that point in my recovery. Well, I wasn't in recovery yet
yeah,
at that point in my life. And I didn't have any way to get to Cincinnati where my dad's funeral service was at. So when I got that phone call from my sister and told me that dad had passed, um, I was getting high, and my only thought in my head was, "Well, I'm just gonna get higher. I'm gonna go buy more drugs. I'm gonna mask the pain. I'm gonna put it on, the I'm gonna put more dope on my feelings and cover
mhm,
them up temporarily, as we all know." And that's what I chose to do, and I continued to do that, gosh, for, like, another 3, 4 months
mhm,
before I had the aha moment while I was at work that I shared on earlier in the stream, which was 8:10 of 20. And It took me a while to, reevaluate my life, and really stop and slow down and think, like, at that point in my life, I was 43 years old. I'm 45 now, I'll be 46 in October, and
You are getting old.
yeah, I'm getting old, older, and, I just enough was enough, like, I was tired of losing people that I loved and cared about around me. My friends were dying from addiction. My family was dying of natural causes. Like, the people that loved and cared about me were dropping left and right. And I was really hard on myself. I'm still hard on myself, not nearly as bad, for not being there for my family, not being there for my stepmom, not being there for my sister, not being there for my dad. You know, um, all part of why step work is so important.
Mhm.
Um, to talk with my sponsor about these things, and we're getting there, um, very slowly,
But you
I
know
might
what?
add, and that's
Even
on me.
even since you haven't
But
gotten to your nights, though, you're still making amends even
no,
now, you know?
I'm making a daily amends today, and I realize that. I know my dad would want nothing but the best for me, and he would want me to stay clean and continue to give back to
Oh,
others.
he's so proud of you right now
Yeah.
because you're doing this kinda thing.
My relationship with my family and my stepmom and my sister especially have gotten a lot better.
Mhm.
Um, things have been getting better every single day. My sister and I communicate on Messenger and on Facebook almost daily now. We've gone out to dinner several
Some
times.
of the TikToks they send each other,
Yeah, my
I
sister and I
I roll
TikTok
my
back and
eyes,
forth all
man,
the
sometimes.
time. And I have a speaking relationship with my stepmom now.
Mhm.
It's progress, not perfection.
Slow and steady.
It's slow and steady. I have to lead. What is it? Actions speak louder than words.
Mhm.
I think is the easiest way to say it. I have to lead by action. I have to the walk and the talk have to match is the easiest way
Yeah,
to say it. I'm getting
exactly.
tongue twisted, but you guys get what I'm saying. And I just have to remain vigilant, um, and do this daily. It's not a one and done for me. It's not a one and done for any of us. This is something that every day when I wake up, I have to do. I have to turn my will in my life over. I have to surrender daily. I have to remain vigilant every single day. You guys hear me share this all the time, and it's because it's that important. It's do or die. It literally is do or die. You know, some of the old timers that are in here listening, work the steps or die, motherfucker. How many of you guys heard that? And it's the truth. It is absolutely the truth. And we have to, we have to remain vigilant. Whether you're working steps or not, we have to remain vigilant. I try to keep the Dayton Strong Recovery 101 an open recovery format. What works for you may not work for me, and vice versa. I personally feel that working the steps and practicing the principles is crucial for my recovery. Um,
Take what you
so
like and leave the
yeah, take what you
rest.
like and leave the rest. If 12 steps are not for you and you're
Yeah.
clean and you're recovering and you're kicking ass in your life right now, perfectly fine. I'm proud of you. Please
Yep.
continue to keep doing what works for you because that's okay, you know? And I tell people that all the time. People ask me about medically assisted treatment programs, marijuana maintenance programs. Um, am I clean this? Am I not clean because of that type questions? And I simply answer what works for you works for you. If medically assisted treatment is what you feel you need to do to keep yourself off of other drugs and to help maintain your recovery, if it's marijuana, same situation, completely fine. I'm completely open to it. I'm completely cool with that. Um, does it work for me personally? No, it doesn't. But that doesn't mean that I'm against it because I'm all for whatever works for you guys. If it works, work it. Continue to do it.
Mikey
Yeah.
and Patty are making fun of us because we're not old yet.
No. Well, we're not nearly as old as you two old farts. That's for damn sure. One day we're getting there. But yeah, you know, It's exactly right. Yes, we support all pathways to recovery, and that's crucial. And I'm an open book, and I love supporting everyone in a recovery journey. That's literally one of the definitions for a certified peer recovery specialist is supporting your peer, our peers, my peer, in whatever pathway they choose and helping them in their journey and providing resources to help them do it.
Yeah.
And I have to remind myself that that's something that I talked about earlier. Just because they're choosing a different path than I chose doesn't mean that it's not okay and that it's not right. And I have to remind myself that because sometimes I catch myself going, oh,
Mhm.
don't get into that relationship, or oh, you don't want to take this right now because it's going to lead into bigger and better things. I have to remind myself of those things all the time because everyone's different.
Yeah.
Everyone is different. Everyone's recovery looks completely different. Yeah, and that is Piper on Addie's chest.
So somebody called Joe, my husband, the other night in a meeting,
Definitely
and
not her husband.
so somebody I was talking to the other day asked me when we were getting married, and I said never, and they seemed very surprised by that answer.
I can't afford to put a ring on her finger, guys. I can afford to put a laptop on her finger. I got plenty of those laying around here. If I can get a laptop on her finger, maybe we'll get married. Um,
Yeah,
or some RAM chips.
yeah.
You guys want to put some? You guys want to? There's 16 gigs of RAM right there. I can put that on her finger, but I don't think that's gonna fly with her. But yeah, I don't. That's going in the computer, and as soon as I get done streaming. But yeah, um,
We've
no,
both we've both been married twice and
I've been
divorced
married
twice,
twice. She's been
and
married
yeah,
twice.
married and divorced and widowed, but still, nonetheless, divorced twice.
Yeah,
And you know what? My comment to the lady was, "If it ain't broke, don't fix it."
yeah.
Things are good.
So does that mean I'm not broke?
You're not broke.
I'm not broken?
No, you're not broken.
Oh, I'm not broken, guys.
Mikey says, "Don't get started. Don't let Joe get started on the tech."
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't get me started. I'll go into a
Good Lord.
Paul. I'll go into a Paul rampage. I'll go into a Paul. You should have seen the guy's house that I went to. Oh my
Oh my
god,
God.
he's a computer tech in Dayton. I got a new friend. Freaking amazing.
God bless us
I'll tell
all.
you about it later, Mikey. I promise. All right, guys. I am
Yep.
hungry. I know
You.
Addie is hungry. We have been streaming for an hour and 24 minutes. I appreciate you guys sticking it out with us and laughing with
So
us and learning a
if
little bit about Addie and I.
if you guys
Um,
think of anything else you want to know, dude, we can totally do another one of these. If something comes up that you guys want to know
we're
more
gonna do
about.
more streams together, and another idea that we've come up with. If you guys remember Zach R from California, Zach and I had gone live, and he shared his experience, strength, and hope with us a few months ago. Um, Zach and his, I believe, fiance Audrey, um, are going to come on live with us. We've been talking
Mhm.
about it. We've been
We're gonna
kicking
do
it around.
a couples in recovery
Gonna kind of yeah, kind of
sort of
a couples in
situation.
recovery type thing on this platform, and we love you too, brother. All four of us are going to come on, and we're going to kind of bounce off one another, kick things around, and it's just going to be recovery talk. Um, haven't set a date yet. You know how I am. I say we're going to do it, and it might take a month before I do it. But it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. This is definitely going to happen. We're just looking for a time and date where we can all come together and do it. And it'll be a long stream
Yeah.
because the four of us feed off one another very well. All four of us participate in our own personal recovery and similar, the same meetings all the time. And they're an awesome couple. They're in California. Of course, we're in Ohio. And it's just fun, man. I love doing this kind of stuff. We're kicking around ideas on. I have the capability of. I have a paid Zoom room to where maybe one night I can do like a gratitude type meeting and
Mhm.
bring you guys on, like bring you guys on the stream. and you guys can click on a Zoom link and come in and share with Addie and I live, and bring each and every one of you guys on and give everyone an opportunity to share, share what's going on with you. If you don't feel like talking about gratitude, you can just come on and share what's going on with you, just like you would in a meeting, and share what's up. If you're having a great day, share. If you're having a shitty day, share. So we've kicked that idea around too. Um, Believe me, my wheels are turning. They never stop turning. It would be a lot of fun to bring you guys on live with us. Um,
Mhm.
and I have the capabilities of doing that now, so I'm excited to try it out. It'll be a test run. Um, I like doing it that way. I don't like editing and uploading stuff, and I just think the live, raw, uncut recovery is the way to go.
Me too.
This is me. This is what you get. This is how I am. If you hear me say fuck, shit, damn, or hell, oh well. If
It's
you
story
like
time with
it,
Joe.
great. Story time with Joe. If you don't like it, call your sponsor. I'm sorry, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with it, and I hope you guys are too. I appreciate each and every one of you guys.
Okay.
Addie and I are going to go grab something to eat. The cats are in here. You can see them running around. They're as equally
Merlin
as hungry as
Merlin's
we are.
yelling. If you've heard her,
Yeah.
she's yelling. It's time to eat
You've
dinner.
probably heard cats meowing throughout
Um,
the stream. But I love you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you guys participating in our recovery. Not only our recovery, but your own recovery. This has been a fun night. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We will talk to you guys
you
later.
guys are rock stars. Go be awesome.
We love you guys. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching.